You prayed for the promotion. You worked for it. You earned it. So why does it feel heavier than it should? Here is the uncomfortable truth. Not every promotion is alignment. Some promotions are escalation without evaluation. And when that happens, what once felt like progress can quietly become confinement. Let's talk about it. Because high-achieving corporate women rarely admit this out loud. You step into a bigger role, more visibility, more influence, more responsibility. Your name carries more weight in rooms. Your calendar feels faster. Your authority increases. And externally, it looks like growth. Internally, something tighten. You tell yourself it's just adjustment. You tell yourself it's just the learning curve. You tell yourself it's imposter syndrome. But months pass, and instead of expansion, you feel restriction. That's the moment we need to investigate. Not emotionally, strategically. Here is what often happens. You are promoted because of your competence, your reliability, your performance. But the new role requires something different. Different energy, different identity, different priorities. And if that new structure conflicts with who you are becoming, the promotion becomes performance trap. You cannot easily step back. You cannot publicly question it. And because you are high capacity, you can survive it, which makes it harder to confront. Now, let's open a loop. How do you know whether you are just adjusting or actually misaligned? Well, we will get there. First, let's dismantle a myth. The myth says, if you feel trapped after advancement, you are ungrateful. No, you may be evolving faster than your environment. Promotions increase scope, but they do not automatically increase alignment. Sometimes they amplify misalignment. Here is why. At lower levels, you execute. At higher levels, you embody. Leadership roles require identity congruence. If the leadership identity the role demands conflict with your internal values, the strain multiplies. Let me give you a real scenario. You are promoted into a strategic leadership position, but now your days are filled with political navigation instead of meaningful execution, or constant crisis management instead of vision building, or performance optics instead of authentic leadership. You are succeeding, but you do not recognize yourself in the process. That is not incompetence, that is identity friction. Now, let's close the loop. How do you know if your promotion became your prison? Here are 4 diagnostic indicators. First, you feel more visible but less authentic. You speak carefully. You filter more. You suppress opinions you once expressed freely. Secondly, your energy drains from the type of work, not the volume. It's not too much. It's not me. Thirdly, you fantasize about your previous level, not because it was easier, but because it felt more aligned. Fourth, your definition of success shifted, but your role did not. This one is critical. Maybe 5 years ago, prestige mattered deeply. Now, impact matters more, or flexibility, or integrity, or spiritual alignment. But your current role rewards metrics that no longer resonate. That creates quiet resentment. And resentment, unexamined, becomes burnout. Now, here is the strategic nuance. The solution is not resignation, it's recalibration. Before making any move, ask, is this role structurally misaligned? Or have I not redesigned how I occupy it? Sometimes the prison is external. Sometimes it's internal expectations. Sometimes you need a new environment. Sometimes you need a new operating model inside the same one. But you cannot determine that without identity clarity first. And this is why I do not start with resumes. I start with identity. Because if you live without diagnosing why the promotion felt restrictive, you risk recreating the same prison at a higher salary. Let me give you a metaphor. Imagine upgrading to a larger home, more space, more rooms, more responsibility. But the layout does not suit how you live. It's impressive, but inefficient for your lifestyle. Do you immediately sell it, or do you assess whether it can be redesigned? Strategic women assess first. Now, let's anchor this. High-achieving corporate women do not burn out because they are weak. They burn out because they are operating inside roles that no longer match their internal evolution. Promotions increase pressure, but pressure only becomes prison when identity and structure diverge. Through the RTS method, realign, transition, sustain, we address this order. Realign, clarify who you are becoming. Identify where friction is structural versus psychological. Distinguish ego attachment from genuine misfit. Transition, design a strategic, low-risk move. Protect your income, protect your credibility, protect your professional narrative. Sustain, build alignment systems so your next elevation does not repeat the same pattern. Because elevation without alignment is escalation of stress. Let's recap. A promotion becomes a prison when it increases visibility but decreases authenticity. It amplifies responsibility but reduces resonance. It rewards metrics that no longer reflect your values. And it locks you into an outdated identity. If that resonates, you are not unstable. You are not ungrateful. You are discerning. And discernment is leadership maturity. Tomorrow, we are addressing another critical myth. Why rest alone will not fix your career fatigue. Because if the structure is misaligned, recovery will never be enough. You do not need to escape. You need clarity. And clarity changes everything. I will see you on the next one.